Why did the American Revolution happen, and how revolutionary was it? What sparked the fire of revolution? The American Revolution wasn't just a sudden explosion of discontent. It was the culmination of years of simmering tension between the British Crown and its American colonies. What happens when a government taxes without representation? What happens when a population starts to see itself as distinct and self-reliant? These questions frame the roots of one of the most transformative events in history. What made the Boston Tea Party more than a cup of chaos? Imagine colonists dumping crates of tea into Boston Harbor, not just as a protest, but as a dramatic assertion of identity. This wasn't just about tea. It was about defiance against what many saw as an overbearing imperial government. Can you think of a modern equivalent of such a bold statement? How revolutionary was the revolution really? The American Revolution is often heralded as a triumph of liberty, but was it truly revolutionary? Yes, it overturned monarchy, but power remained in the hands of a wealthy elite. Were the ideals of equality and freedom really applied universally? Slaves, women, and non-landowners might disagree. Why did Britain lose, despite its global power? Great Britain, the world's preeminent power, lost a war to a fledgling group of colonies. How? Guerrilla tactics, French support, and the sheer determination of the American people created an unbeatable combination. What does this tell us about the limits of traditional power? What role did Enlightenment ideas play? The Enlightenment provided the intellectual fuel for the revolution, with ideas of liberty, equality, and reason shaping its foundations. Can you imagine a world where these ideas had remained confined to books instead of inspiring rebellion? How did ordinary Americans change history? From farmers to artisans, ordinary people played extraordinary roles in the revolution. Militias, committees of correspondence, and local leaders turned a colonial rebellion into a full-fledged war for independence. Could such grassroots movements still reshape societies today? What was the Declaration of Independence's true power? The Declaration of Independence was more than a statement. It was a manifesto that declared the colonies a new, self-governing entity. How many other nations can trace their origins to such a radical document? How did the revolution impact the world? The American Revolution didn't just change America. It inspired revolutions in France, Latin America, and beyond. What made this single event a catalyst for global change? Why did some Americans stay loyal to Britain? Not all colonists supported the revolution. Loyalists, many of whom were concentrated in cities and among wealthier classes, believed staying with Britain was the best course. How do you reconcile their perspective with the prevailing narrative? How did women and slaves experience the revolution? Women supported the revolution as nurses, spies, and managers of homes and businesses. Enslaved people, meanwhile, faced a dilemma: fight for the British, who promised freedom, or hope for liberty from an American victory. How would you choose? What role did Native Americans play? Native American tribes faced complex decisions during the Revolution, with many aligning with the British to protect their lands from colonial encroachment. How did the outcome reshape their futures? How did France shape the outcome? Without French support, particularly naval power and funding, the revolution might have failed. What does this tell us about the importance of alliances? How did the revolution redefine governance? Post-revolution, the Articles of Confederation created a weak central government, leading to the U.S. Constitution's creation. Can you imagine the debates that shaped the world's first modern democracy? Why is the revolution still celebrated? The revolution is a cornerstone of American identity, celebrated for its ideals of liberty and self-determination. Do these ideals still hold as much weight today? What does the revolution say about leadership? Figures like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson are lauded as heroes, but their legacies are complicated by slavery and privilege. How should we view such figures in a modern context? How did the revolution impact the economy? The war disrupted trade and agriculture, but it also spurred innovation and industrial growth. Could this duality hold lessons for modern economies? Why was independence inevitable? The cultural, economic, and political divergence between Britain and the colonies made independence almost a foregone conclusion. How often do such inevitable separations play out peacefully? How has the revolution been romanticized? From Paul Revere's Midnight Ride to Valley Forge's Hardship, the revolution is steeped in myth. How do these stories shape our understanding of the event? Why do we still debate its legacy? The revolution's contradictions freedom for some, but not all continue to provoke debate. Are such contradictions inevitable in transformative movements? What can the revolution teach us about change? The American Revolution shows that change requires vision, sacrifice, and persistence. Can its lessons guide us in addressing today's global challenges? Conclusion: the American Revolution wasn't perfect, but it was transformative. It redefined governance, inspired global change, and set the stage for modern democracy. As we reflect on its complexities and contradictions, we're reminded of the power of people to reshape their destinies, even against overwhelming odds. A revolution that redefined power and governance. The American Revolution was not merely a fight for independence. It was an experiment in redefining the very concept of governance. By rejecting monarchy and implementing a system based on Enlightenment ideals, the Founding Fathers challenged centuries of political tradition. They dared to imagine a world where power flowed from the consent of the governed rather than divine right or hereditary privilege. This shift had repercussions far beyond the 13 colonies, inspiring similar movements in France, Latin America, and even modern democracies today. However, the vision was incomplete, limited by the biases and inequalities of its time. The revolution serves as a reminder that while breaking old systems is a vital step, the real challenge lies in building something more just and inclusive in its place, an ongoing struggle for true equality. While the American Revolution sparked hope and laid the foundation for modern democracy, it also revealed the contradictions within its own ideals. The promise of all men are created equal coexisted uneasily with the reality of slavery, gender inequality, and economic disparity. These contradictions continue to resonate in today's society as we wrestle with systemic injustices and strive for a more equitable world. The revolution teaches us that the pursuit of liberty is a never-ending process, requiring continuous effort and self-reflection. It asks us to hold our leaders accountable and to ensure that the rights fought for by our ancestors are not only preserved, but expanded to include all members of society. The legacy of revolutionary ideas in modern politics, the ideas born during the American Revolution, liberty, representation, and self-determination still influence global politics today. Modern democracies owe much to the frameworks established by the revolution, from the separation of powers to the protection of individual rights. Yet, as nations face challenges such as economic inequality, political polarization, and climate change, the revolution reminds us of the power of collective action and vision. It encourages us to question entrenched systems, advocate for fairness, and believe in the possibility of a better future. These ideals remain as relevant today as they were in 1776, urging each generation to adapt them to new struggles and aspirations. A universal message of hope and persistence. Ultimately, the American Revolution's greatest legacy lies in its ability to inspire hope. It showed that even against a seemingly insurmountable opponent, ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things. It demonstrated that bold ideas, when combined with courage and unity, can change the course of history. For those striving for freedom, justice, or progress in their own corners of the world, the revolution serves as both a blueprint and a beacon. Its lessons remind us that progress is rarely linear or easy, but it is always worth pursuing. As we face the challenges of the modern era, the revolution's message endures. The power to create a better world lies within us all. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.